No, what's up, everybody? Got another kind of nature video for you while I'm outside in this beautiful weather. We don't got too many more of these days left, at least in the week. It's gonna be pretty hot for the rest of the week in the 90s. So, getting this last low 80s day, kind of making the most of it. But yeah, this one, I'm gonna be talking about kind of the rules of nature, how things kind of go, how things naturally go in nature, and how we can't really run from that or change it too much to fit what we want or kind of how we see things. Like I said, there are rules that you kind of have to abide by. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we are what we are, not who we are, what we think we are. I'll give you some examples. With me currently, when I send out my letter, to only like a couple people, but everybody figured out what it was and kind of made their own assumptions about what it is. I definitely gave some commands in a sense. I told people, first thing I said was, I'm gathering all like the miserable, bitter, alcoholic, racist people, and I'm seeing them on their way out since they chose me as their opponent. So, told them that they are kind of obsolete, kind of outdated, and yeah, they're no longer needed right now, especially for the new world that is coming, and that is kind of making its way. Someone said kind of struggling to be born. I don't believe that at all. I think it's doing exactly what it needs to do. It is right on schedule, but it's on its way. And even though society says we have to love everyone and kind of do things a certain type of way, what's going on right now is as the crows do their thing. There's two of them now. I like it. I dig it. As nature will always kind of course correct. You know what I'm saying? As I was saying, I told people, all the alcoholic, miserable people, what I'm saying, your time is basically up and it's time for you to leave. And they just been showing up in droves, 'cause I guess I told them to, essentially, so I called them out. And even though people want to operate off of their ego and act like, they're holier than thou or whatever, they just came running, came flocking towards me as they do. And then one of the main parts of it, one of the bigger parts of it, even though it was like only like a sentence, you know what I'm saying? They were like 12 words. I told the women, I said, hey, ladies, don't sit on the sidelines, bring you and the kids to the event on the 18th of my birthday. You know what I'm saying? It's all inclusive event. Sure as shit, ever since then I've seen a whole bunch of women with their kids. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of how nature truly is and how things go. People have always kind of done what I told them to, for the most part. I'm saying? Not everyone. Which is not because, I'm trying to be a dictator or whatever, or just trying to, act like a tyrant. It's just they know what it is. You know what I'm saying? They kind of get what society, not society, what nature kind of acts for them, and they do act accordingly. So I appreciate it, what I'm saying, to seeing all these people to show their faces. And sure enough, the kids, they're going out here, they're showing up, and the ones who are related to these people, they're children. People say, racism is taught. That is a coat. That is a very convenient coat for miserable, jealous, racist people. In reality, that shit is passed down. You know what I'm saying? Racism, the biggest piece of that pie. Keep saying is jealousy. You know what I'm saying? They hate us because they ain't us. And they don't love themselves or like themselves. So that's where that comes from. So if your mom and your dad don't like yourself, I truly can't see how you could. Truly, you know what I'm saying? It's something that I'm just kind of piecing the puzzle, putting all these pieces together to kind of get what this is. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's very cathartic, kind of see all these things kind of line up and come together the way that they have, because even though, you know, my intentions were one thing, I'm getting something very, very different. And what I'm getting is actually what is needed, you know. Even another part in that letter, I told them to bring like the disabled people, you know what I'm saying? Just so they can have a way to get down there if they want to participate in. They just been showing up in droves, you know what I'm saying? Making themselves known. It's just like, this is kind of why I do what I do, and why I am what I am, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is, once again, the rules of nature. You know what I'm saying? Once you put those commands out there and tell the people who need to be guided, send them on their way, that's kind of what they do. That's what they've always done. You know what I'm saying? You want to call them sheep or whatever, but at the end of the day, you know, these people, that's kind of how they operate and how they move in the world. And you kind of have to, you know, send them or guide them to the next stage, as the crows do. You know, the people see them as signs of death or something that leads to something bad, which is a huge misunderstanding and just kind of blown out of proportion. And truly, they are, you know, one of the most intelligent creatures we have on the planet, and they are just here to kind of guide everyone to like the next stage, the next step. That's kind of how I, you know, view what I'm doing. You know, just me just guiding people to the next stage, the next step, to the next part of the cycle, so we can keep moving and keep moving forward. You know, because the new world that we're all building together, it needs people to be more to be more intentional with their actions. You know what I'm saying? The people they have around them, and the way that they just move in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really hide in societies anymore, and, you know, have people pretending to be people that they're not. You know, operating off of their ego. That's not something that is going to fly. You know, in the new world, you know, people are going to have to truly be what they are, and no one's really going to entertain anything other than what you are. You know, people are going to start calling others out, and as is already happening now, and just not allowing this nonsense that's been going on in our societies to continue. You know what I'm saying? Like, all good things must come to an end, I keep saying. And, you know, there's a lot of good things about these societies and what's going on, you know, what has transpired from them. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably making a video about, you know, all the good things that come from the societies. But at the same time, you know, they were not built to last. You know what I'm saying? They were not built for endurance. They were not built to go the mile. You know what I'm saying? They were just here for a short period of time. We kind of have to revert back to what we were normally doing, the tribes that we were in, and how we are as animals. We're going to have to, you know, eventually have to accept that. And we can't allow the freshmen of the world, white people, to continue just to lead us down these paths that we no longer need to do. You know, we're not going to really entertain, you know, the people who have been on this planet the least amount of time kind of calling the shots anymore. You know, that's nature is definitely telling us that that's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are definitely going through it right now with nature because of, you know, their actions and because of just who they are in general, what they are. Excuse me. So, you know, the rules of nature is like, you know, you kind of have to just do what is called of you. You can't really go outside of yourself and just do things that you just think, all right, you know what I'm saying? You got to get out of your head and really kind of get out here, you know, not so much touch grass, but just get out of your head. That's the main thing, is just not live up there 24/7. You really got to come out here in reality and figure this out, because that's truly the only way that you're going to get your blessings and figure this whole thing out, is by just being very, very conscious of who you are and what you are, and what is going to be asked of you. You know what I'm saying? And kind of do that. So, like I said, just sending out that letter and watching all these things manifest right in front of me. All the people who I was talking about is coming out in droves, you know what I'm saying, and making themselves known. It's a beautiful thing, you know what I'm saying? And it shows, you know, how well I am connected to who I am and what I got going on. and how that is going to continue to materialize for me and people like me all throughout the world. That's why I make these, just to kind of tell people to continue down that path. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get a lot of pushback from it. A lot of people aren't going to like it, but at the end of the day, it's very much needed. You know what I'm saying? And we all need it at the end of the day, but we got to continue having these people go down this road, even if it has to. Violence is part of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying physical violence or even death, but violence is always going to be part of it, and that's just kind of how things are. It's kind of how things have always been, and it's not really going to change anytime soon, because we are who we are and what we are as animals. So the animal video is coming. I just gotta get one day at a time. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it. But yeah, following the rules of nature. That you can't really run from who you are, what you are. And at the end of the day, the cream is always going to rise to the top, and there's always going to be a small group of people who are really kind of calling the shots out here. You know what I'm saying? Who really knows what's going on. At the end of the day, because even the people who are calling the shots, we're no better than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? It's just part of what this is and what we are, and kind of the grand scheme of things. It's just kind of what's happening, what's transpiring. So just keep following those rules of, figuring out who you are, what you put on this earth to do, and kind of get out of your own way, get out of your head. Don't operate off your ego. You're no better than any living thing on this planet, and everything should materialize right in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Things will work out for the best. It always has, and it always will. And that's just something that I am accepting every single day, because it's just materializing, it's manifesting right in front of me. I did not expect so many people to just kind of fall in line about what I was doing. I truly expected a lot of people to ignore me, and me accepting my role, and it's like I am almost impossible to ignore. You know what I'm saying? I stand out no matter where I go, and that's a blessing. So I appreciate it. I'm making the best of it. So yeah, that's little small rules of nature kind of video. I'm gonna keep making these like a series or whatever, because I think they're very much needed. But as always, y'all take it easy, and until next time.